Hey Albert.
Good
Hey.
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you
Welcome.
too.
Welcome.
Uh, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm just trying to set up my because the Twitter Spaces would not turn off the sound, so I guess I'll just
Okay.
keep it on.
So are you traveling now or where are you dialing in from?
I'm actually in Tokyo this weekend, so
Oh,
yeah,
so what time is it for you right now? Like 10:30 p.m. or
it's 12:30 a.m.
oh, all right. Well, thanks for it's at midnight, right? Midnight, 12:30.
Yeah,
All right. Well, thanks so much for being a good sport and staying up late for this. That means a lot to me and to the audience. So let's get into it. Well, we know you're the CEO and co-founder of Xverse, but can you tell us a little bit more about how you got there and what Xverse does before we get into the meat of it?
sure, yeah. So my background is in computer engineering. So I graduated from University of Waterloo in Canada. I spent a few years in finance, um, and then I co-founded another startup, mobile commerce startup. Did that for a few years. Sorry, give me 1 second. I need to. Yeah, sorry. The Twitter Spaces was just like repeating everything I say, and it was really confusing.
All right. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So I had a mobile commerce startup which I co-founded, ran it for a few years, and really got into crypto full time in 2017. And that was when I joined Blockstack, which is the company that built the Stacks blockchain. And while I was there, I worked on a variety of things, including the first Stacks wallet, developer tooling, and other things. So just around, I think 2021, while I was working still at Blockstack, I was kind of seeing that there was a lot of new technology being developed on Bitcoin, including things like Lightning and Stacks, but there just wasn't any sort of like compelling user-facing infrastructure like wallets that kind of provided the same experience that you would see, for example, on Ethereum with MetaMask. So we wanted to build something like that, but for the Bitcoin ecosystem, and that's why we founded this company. So Xverse is a Bitcoin wallet for Web3. So our mission is to build the most advanced Bitcoin wallet. And basically what we want to do is make Bitcoin more powerful and unlock all the potential of Bitcoin layers like Stacks and Lightning, as well as other sort of layer one protocols like Ordinals. So right now, Xverse allows users to manage their Bitcoin holdings, their Stacks holdings, and other Stacks-based tokens. You can send and receive, view your Bitcoin NFTs, which includes Stacks NFTs and Ordinals. You can connect to applications via the Stacks protocol as well as our new Bitcoin Wallet API. So with these, protocols, you can sign transactions. Uh, Basically, apps can request a transaction signing, and you can sign it and broadcast it both for Stacks and directly on Bitcoin Layer One. So with Bitcoin Layer One, this is even though Bitcoin has existed for a really long time, there just wasn't this sort of MetaMask or like Web3 JS like interface for applications to kind of request transactions to be signed by wallets, and this is basically one of the first ones. And what it allows now is swaps, so trustless swaps of ordinals using partially signed Bitcoin transactions, where one party signs one part of it at transfers the ordinal, and the other party can come in if they wanted to take that offer. They can finish signing it and put in the payment outputs and sign it. So right now, Xverse is available on iOS, Android, and on desktop as a Chrome extension. Um, and yeah, so I can certainly dive a little deeper into what we're doing with Xverse, or maybe reasons to build for Xverse. But which how would you like me to move ahead? think you're muted.
Yep. No, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that overview. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for that overview. Yeah, you could tell that Xverse is a pioneer, right? Where a lot of Web3 stuff or crypto stuff, a lot of it's on desktop, but you guys made the decision to go mobile first, and then you launch your desktop later. Also, you're one of the first, if not the first, to launch the Ordinals API capabilities, right? That's really exciting. So I definitely want to dive deeper into what you think. If you had more time, what would be the wish list items you would build before the next Bitcoin halving in less than a year now? But before that, so let's zoom out to take a different perspective. How do you see this whole space playing out? I mean, of course, we all share a common goal or vision that we believe that one day there will become a sustainable Bitcoin economy, right? But on the mobile space, in the metaverse level, Bitcoin level, like what's the end picture of this sustainable Bitcoin economy to you? Let's start with the end goal right now, or like what your vision is.
Yeah. So, I think it's great that, there's a lot of growth in this ecosystem right now. A lot of stuff is happening directly on layer one. And I'm pretty excited for all this infrastructure being built for layer one and for Ordinals. But I think in the long term, right, given that Bitcoin block space is so limited, I think eventually these kind of applications and the bulk of the transaction volume is going to have to move to Bitcoin layers. So, for example, Stacks is able to basically allow smart contracts, advanced smart contracts on top of Bitcoin. And with that, I think potentially some of the ordinals trading can then be moved onto layer two, right? Because even now, if you look at the number of inscriptions we're doing, it's driving up the Bitcoin transaction fees by a lot already, right? And I don't think this is sustainable, because if Bitcoin is to basically become the global reserve currency and basically power the global economy, there's just not enough block space for everyone, especially if you're writing JPEGs onto the chain. You don't have enough like incentive to compete with, for example, like DeFi protocols, for which people will be making a lot of money, and there's a lot more value that can be unlocked by those types of transactions. So I think a lot of these high volume.
Actually, let's pause right there. So
Yeah.
Ordinals is actually possible right now because there are no big DeFi projects on Bitcoin L1. So let me say it another way, because we believe that the next big opportunity in Bitcoin may be a DeFi, or maybe a combination of DeFi and Ordinals. But let's say there's a rip roaring DeFi project on Bitcoin L1. Now, because like you said, the cash size and the volume is going to be probably larger, you're saying it's going to drown out the Ordinal activity. Let's play it out. Let's play it out. And maybe it's not just one DeFi. It's like, it could be like lending, borrowing. It could be options, futures. It could be a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about like, not like, Ordinals, what, 25 million in 30 days, but we're talking about maybe add a couple zeros to that. What's that going to do?
Yeah. So like if you imagine like even just like 100 million people using Bitcoin for DeFi, there's not nearly enough block space for all those transactions to happen, right? And in the end, the block space is a free open market, right? You pay to get into the next block, and you have to compete for it, right? So as the number of applications, transactions go up, the price for your transaction to be included in the block will go up. And I think at a certain point, it becomes basically unreasonable for like inscriptions to be at a specific price level, right? So right now you can basically create an ordinal inscription for like, I think under $10 US, right? For a very like small size image. And that's considering that the transaction fees right now on Bitcoin is about like 20 sats per byte, right? In the last bull cycle, Bitcoin fees went up over 100 sats to like 200 sats per byte at a certain point, right? So that's already like a 10x increase. So, $100 for an inscription, is that something you can accept, right? And I think the size of the Bitcoin economy is going to grow much bigger than the last bull run. So I think we can expect fees to go up to, anywhere in like 1,000 sats per byte, or potentially like, 5 to 10,000 sats per byte, right? I mean, the ultimate goal of Bitcoin is that as the block rewards get halved, every 4 years, eventually there will not be enough block reward to incentivize miners, and they would eventually have to rely on the fees, which means fees have to go up a lot, right?
That's fascinating.
Yeah, at a certain point, it just doesn't, it's not economical unless what you're inscribing is going to be worth like, millions of dollars, right? So,
Right. So I mean that's interesting, because there are asset classes that are definitely worth millions, or if not more, right? But then that becomes like a different market, completely different market. So let's backtrack to today. So what are the things that let's split up? We'd like to hear what, if you had more time, what are the wish list ideas that you would build, right? That have massive potential, that people will build a proof of concept in the hackathon, but potentially it can evolve into something much bigger and something impactful within the greater sustainable Bitcoin economy. And we have two types. One is stuff that directly is related to your API, and maybe number two, maybe in response to the problem that you foresee, right? Let's split the ideas up into two categories.
yeah, so maybe we can start with kind of like the more smaller ideas that are basically, we know that there's a demand for right now and can be done relatively fast. So one example is doing inscriptions using the Bitcoin Wallet API trustlessly. So right now you basically have two different ways of inscribing. So you run your own node, right, and you use the Ord wallet, which is like the command line wallet, and you do it like, it's a very complex process basically, or you use kind of like inscription service, which many of the Ordinals marketplaces offer. So for example, Ordinals Bot, Gamma, they all offer this service, and they charge a fee on that. And some of the criticisms that it's not completely trustless, right? So you have to give some of your Bitcoin to these services, and they will go and inscribe something for you. And then if it's successful, they'll send you the inscription. If not, you rely on them to kind of refund you. But with the Bitcoin Wallet API that we launched, you can actually make this completely trustless, right? So and you can basically cut out some of these services instead of paying a
Wait,
fee to
that's
them.
super awesome. So, but no one's built it already? I mean, I know your API just came out, recently, but no one's
Yeah.
built it. Like, oh, okay. So this is okay. So this is definitely something really cool. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Please keep
Yeah.
going. All right.
Yeah. So you can basically create those transactions that you need for the inscription and get Xsource Wallet to sign it using the Bitcoin Wallet API. So that way, there's no like third party involved. You're just directly inscribing by yourself, but then you don't have to run a node or deal with like a command line wallet. And right after inscribing, you can see it in your Xsource wallet, the image or anything else it could be. So I think that could be very interesting. Yeah.
All right. Super. What else? Do you have any others?
Yeah. Some other things I think people have been asking for quite a bit. And, because ordinals are so new and there just isn't a lot of like robust tooling for this stuff. And some of the wallets that basically don't support ordinals, people are using them still to like send ordinals, and some of them like mess up your ordinals essentially, or actually every single basically every single wallet, even the ones that support ordinals, when you try to transfer an ordinal, they will use the satoshis that's included in that output that contains the ordinal to pay for the transaction fees. And that is usually a limited amount, say like 10,000 Satoshis or something like that. So after a few transactions, you've basically used up all the Satoshis in that ordinals output, and then you end up not being able to send them. So, with Xverse, we fund all ordinals transfers using the user's payment Bitcoin wallet. So we don't touch the Satoshis that are in that output, but a lot of wallets don't. And people are now ending up in the situation where there is basically no more Satoshis in that output. And for a lot of wallets, you can't move that anymore, right? So that's not good. And another problem that people have been running into is that for wallets that don't support ordinals, when they try to send ordinals as regular Bitcoin, sometimes it merges all your ordinals into one output. And once you do that, you basically end up not being able to list or transfer these ordinals at all, because no wallet right now can split these ordinals back out into these individual outputs, right? And the marketplace cannot list these ordinals because they're combined with like 10 other ones. If you want to list one, you have to list the other ones as well. So that also doesn't work. So I think tooling to basically allow more advanced manipulation of these Bitcoin outputs to, either add more postage to these ordinals outputs or split them into their individual outputs if they have been merged. I think these would be really useful. And a lot of people have been, asking us for this, but we just haven't had the chance or opportunity to build these kind of tooling.
All right, super. And I think that's actually plenty to go on, because we're running up on time here. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to do a call to action. How can people start building these things? And maybe you can sort of mention what they would have to do, or what their project has to include in order to qualify for the Xverse prize.
Yeah, so if you want to build with Xverse, just head over to docs.xverse.app. And we have documentation for Sats Connect, which is the Bitcoin Wallet API that we launched. It's pretty simple. We have a quick start over there. And we also included some instructions on how to build these Bitcoin transactions that you can ask the wallet to sign. So, check it out. If you implement that, you can connect with Xverse, and you'll be eligible to receive the prize. And just to add to that, like some of the reasons that you should build for Xverse is we're basically the leading Bitcoin Web3 wallet right now. We're the most popular wallet for ordinals by far. We have the most number of integrations with ordinals marketplaces and other applications and explorers. The API that we have is probably the simplest API out of all the existing ones, and we are supported on the most number of platforms. So on iOS, Android, and on desktop as a browser extension. So yeah.
Well, those are plenty of great reasons to build with Xverse. And if I understand it, you guys are also going to be doing like a crash course video, right? That will be sharing with other contestants, so they can get a little bit more support. And so if I understand it correctly, basically if they want to qualify for Xverse prize, then they have to use the Xverse wallet API, correct?
Yes.
All right, excellent. This is super exciting. We actually did pretty good on time. We have 3 more minutes, so maybe you could share some encouraging words to the developers out there before we jump.
Yeah, sure. I think like working with Bitcoin in general is harder than working with something like Ethereum, but I think you're building in a space that has a lot more potential, right? And right now it's growing very fast. So I think if you're building for Bitcoin, you're in the right place.
Can you compare it? Is there anything that's comparable? I know it's a much larger asset class, but if we had to compare it to, let's say, Ethereum, where do you think on that timeline Bitcoin development is compared to Ethereum?
I mean, it depends on like what exactly you're doing, right? And I think on Bitcoin right now, there isn't kind of like the robust ecosystem. So you have to build the basics, right? The basic infrastructure before you can move on to like more advanced stuff. So yeah, I think like if you wanted to build a DEX on Bitcoin, it's not just a matter of like copying someone's smart contract and launching that. Like you actually have to do a lot of like basic infrastructure work to get that working. So I think for now, like development time will probably take longer than Ethereum. Yeah.
Super, super. So it's actually like from an entrepreneur's point of view, all I hear is opportunity.
Yeah.
Because if all those things existed, then we already missed a curve, right? We missed an inflection point. It feels like it's right about the hockey puck, right? So this is the exciting thing about Ordinals is that Bitcoin was sort of stagnant, and now it's Ordinals, because of Ordinals is building that critical mass and that attention that we need. And I feel like it's about to pop, like really pop. I guess it seems like it's already popped, but I think there's a bigger, a steeper curve coming up very soon. So really, really exciting. This is the perfect time. This is like an entrepreneur's dream, basically, is to right, see the wave like a few moments before it hits, so we can prepare and start building for it. And really looking forward to the builders out there that are going to build with Xverse. Excited to see in a week and a half time what awesome innovations come out of it. Thank you for joining us, Ken.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yep, you're welcome back anytime, and hopefully, in a week and a half on April 19th, when we announce the winners on the Ordinal show, you'll be quite pleased with some of the products. Thank you.
Yeah. Super excited. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Thanks again, Ken, for coming on.